Sup? This is not a battle report. You probably read the title already. It's Kill Teams Season 2, Pre-Season 3, Definitive Fun Rankings. Very objective. There's no personal opinion here. It is the facts and nothing else.
All right, so we thought we'd make this video because while we're not competitive like tournament players, we play a hell of a lot of kill team, and we have played all of the kill teams, almost more or less
98% of them.
Yeah. Anyway, and so with the end of season 2 and season 3 just around the corner, we wanted to put together a list of the most fun kill teams that we've enjoyed playing so far.
Yeah.
You know, if you're just getting into the game and trying to figure out what team you want to pick up, or, you know, if you're just trying to decide a new main to go into season 3 with, this hopefully will help you out.
Yep.
So the way we're going to do it is we've both selected 5 of our favorite teams.
Yep.
And then we're going to award them out of 10 points for enjoyability of play.
I thought we were doing 20.
Okay, so it's out of 10 points for how fun they are to play, out of a possible 5 points for how fun they are to put together and paint, so 5 hobby points. And then the other one of us who's played against them is going to have to rate them out of 5 as far as enjoyability as an opponent, because this game is filled with all sorts of pretty unfun gotcha stuff.
Yeah.
And that's no fun to play and no fun to play against. Okay, so who goes first?
Rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, are we going on? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Paper, reveal.
The right way,
yeah.
By the way.
Rock. The first team that I'm going to talk about is the Void Dancer troupe.
Oh, good choice.
So, okay, let's start with playability first. They're a really, really fun team because everyone's got 3 APL. They have fly, and so you can get all over the board. Invuln save is nice because you don't just get completely destroyed by plasma shots. You are susceptible to burning advance by Novitiates. I've found out the hard way. But overall, I think they're a really fun team. So yeah, my overall playability score, I'm going to give them a 9 out of 10 because I think,
pretty good.
Yeah, you know what? All the movement, 3 APL, yeah, what's not to like?
Yeah.
For the hobby side, that is a bit of a drag for them. First of all, they're an expensive kill team because you have to buy a box of the clowns and then 2 separate other clowns.
Yeah, spending money is not fun.
Yeah, and like so even getting them from a local game store, they're a $100 kill team at least.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that obviously is a big point against. They are a bit of a tricky paint because you know, there's a lot of small parts. If you don't like painting diamond checkerboard patterns, people in the YouTube comments will call you an idiot for that. Anyway, so for hobby, I'm going to give them a 2 out of 5. How'd you like playing against them?
Yeah, they're kind of annoying to play against. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Because it seems like they can kind of do everything. They have good shooting. They have good fighting. They have 3 APL. They have like fantastic movement.
Yeah.
I guess the only downside is they only have, 8 HP for the most part. In my experience playing against them, the first few games was tough.
Yeah.
But then once I kind of got to know them better, it's not so bad. I'll give them a 3 out of 5. Void
Dancer's final score are 14 out of 20. Yeah, so I think that'll probably be around the middle of the pack, but we'll have to see. So what's your first nominee?
I'm going to go with the Hierotek Circle. Okay, so in terms of gameplay, very thematic, extremely thematic abilities. They've got a lot of like weird, cool tools, which if you're into that kind of thing is very fun. However, I will say there's a lot to remember, and when you're first starting them, even if you've been playing them for a decent little bit, it can be tough because they have so many moving parts and so many interactions. They're pretty unforgiving. If you forget 1 or 2 things and you do something in the wrong order, it can kind of screw you over. So overall, I really enjoy them. I'll put them at an 8. In terms of painting and hobby and everything, they are very fiddly to put together. That's basically the only downside though. If you choose to do it in simple scheme like I did, they're very, very easy to paint up. I painted mine up super quickly. It's mostly just the building that kind of sucks. I'm gonna give them a 4 out of 5 for the hobby aspect.
In terms of playing against them, to me, they're probably one of the most unpleasant teams to play against.
Yeah, I can see that. Like,
yeah. The nanomine is annoying. Command is annoying. Whenever the Mancer, whatever, activates, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna have to sit here for 15 minutes. There are a lot of feels bad situations with this team.
Yeah.
However, like they've yet to win a game on the channel. It's not like they're an overpowered team. I'll give them a 2 for how it feels to play against them.
Fair. So what's that total? We got a 8 plus 2 is 10 plus 4, so 14, another 14.
So that's a logistical nightmare that we already have a tie in what is presumably the middle of the top 10. Okay, so I'll do the first Space Marine team here and pick the Phobos. I absolutely love playing the Phobos. In my opinion, they're kind of the most flexible 3 APL team. There's so much you can do with them. After the buffs too, like everything feels really good. They're a really smooth team.
Yeah.
So many different list building options, which is really fun. Obviously, one drag is that the box doesn't come with all the different options. Like you don't get any Reavers with the Phobos kit. If you can get past that, it is a really fun kit to play with. They do struggle against other elite teams. Like they don't have great ways to deal with that. So I think for playability, I'm just going to give them a 7 out of 10 because they do have some really bad matchups. For the hobby side, like I said, I really enjoyed building them, really enjoyed painting them, though I'm only going to give it 4 out of 5 because it doesn't come with any Reavers, doesn't come with the Reaver Sergeant, and to really enjoy the team, you need Reavers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm only going to give them 4 out of 5 for that.
You know, they're pretty fun to play into. They don't really mess with you too much. There are some instances with some of the grenades that can be annoying, but overall, I've had a good time pretty much every game I've played into Phobos. I'm going to give them a 4 out of 5.
Nice.
I think they're really fun to play against.
Score, that's our first 15.
15,
So they're,
all right.
they're in the lead so far, which
Nice.
honestly feels right. They're a really fun team.
All right, next up for me, I'm going to nominate the Blooded. So for gameplay, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Honestly, everything is so thematic, and I just want to get out there and kill stuff, and this team really, really rewards you just getting out there and killing stuff. They're so much fun.
Yeah.
The Ogryn is sweet. Definitely the most thematic medic in any kill team.
Yeah.
Very flavorful. And even if I get completely destroyed, it's kind of still flavorful. Like, these like chaotic lunatics, and they just get blown off the board. Yeah, that kind of feels great too,
Yeah.
Like they even feel good to lose with.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a 10 out of 10.
Nice.
Hobby wise, they are one of the larger kill teams.
Yeah.
And if you want a totally full roster without magnetizing, you can't really get that with one box.
They took you about 7 years to paint.
Yeah. So based on everything, I think I can't give them higher than a 2, unfortunately.
So in terms of how it feels to play against them, I'm giving them an easy 5.
Wow.
I absolutely love playing against the Blooded. And for the same reason that you said, it's like, I know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes you're just going to kill me and win. And sometimes I'm just going to kill you and win. And there's like a real beauty in how straightforward the Blooded are.
Yeah.
You win some, you lose some. And yeah, I really enjoy playing against the Blooded. And so I think that's our new leader, right? So we've got...
It's got to be a 17.
Yeah, 17.
That's pretty high score. All right, what's up next?
Okay, so I think I'm going to do a bit of a surprising one. I love the Farstalker kinband. They're not a very powerful kill team. If, win rates are something that you care about, I don't think they ever do really well there. They've got a lot of really tough matchups. Like, I know that Kill Team is a game of specialist operatives, and on all the bespoke teams, like, everyone does something different, but it feels really exaggerated with the Crute for some reason with me.
Yeah.
Like, everyone has a role, and the team really works when it's like the right operative is taking the right shot at the right time. It's such a house of cards Kill Team. Like, more often than not, I feel like it just totally falls apart. I really enjoy the Crute. I'm going to give them an 8 out of 10 for playability. For hobby, I really enjoyed building and painting them. I think it's really fun to paint kind of organic shapes and skin, and you can go anywhere with it. There's so much freedom. And sure, you can paint any kill team however you want, but I feel like with a band of naked aliens, they can really look like however you want them to. So I'm going to give them a 4 for hobby.
Okay, so for playability against them, I'll say Rogue, when you're on open board, Rogue can be kind of surprisingly strong. It's the good kind of surprisingly strong because it makes you approach them differently. As the opponent, you really it's a different puzzle for you to solve of how do I play against this team. I'm gonna give them a 4.
Nice.
Like they're fun to play against.
Nice.
Almost could be a 5. I'm gonna go with 4, but yeah, they're great.
So that's 16, I think, for the Crute,
Yeah.
which feels right. I mean, they're a fun team.
All right, next up, this might be controversial, But I'm gonna pick the current boogeyman. I'm gonna pick the Kommandos. They have a really cool toolbox. They're nice and durable. I just like, they play very differently than most other bespoke kill teams. I also didn't abuse some of the like forward deploy shenanigans that I know can be abused. I've only played them maybe one open board and the rest were on Into the Dark. Since this is totally objective and there's no opinion involved, I'm gonna give them an 8. You know, they're a fun team, and building them is bad, dude. Because when you're working off the sprue, right, they have one mini's parts like relatively close together, or maybe it'll be like one chunk here and one chunk here. Commando sprue is a mess, dude. And it took me forever to find the parts.
I'm remembering a 2-hour hobby stream we did where you built one commando.
They are a 1-box kill team,
right,
which is like a very high positive. I'm gonna give them a 2. The sprue layout is just so bad.
So I have played against the Kommandos a few times, and it's really thematic. Like, it feels like you're playing against a bunch of orcs, you know? One thing I really appreciate as an opponent is that if you're not that familiar with a team, you have a pretty good idea of what everyone does just by looking at the mini. However, there is some like overpowered stuff. The forward deploy stuff, the bomb squig tricks. Like,
Just a Scratch is very strong.
Just a Scratch really counters certain things unless you're playing something like the Inquisitorial Agents who can like mess with your opponent's ability to play a certain ploy. I think the Kommandos are a pretty tough team to play against, and you end up in like some serious feels bad situations. So I'm gonna give them 2 out of 5.
I think that's a 12.
Ooh, that's the lowest one.
That's yikes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that feels right.
So I'll pick a good team, and I'm gonna go with Starstriders, Elucidian Starstriders. So I'll start with Hobby this time. I'm gonna give them a 4 out of 5 on Hobby.
Yeah.
Now, box art, not down with the aesthetic. There's just so many little bits on them.
Sure.
But then when I got my box, I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, wait, that can all be the same color. That can all be the same color. And if you really simplify, I think A, they look more cohesive. And especially from a distance when you're playing, they look better.
Yeah.
And B, they're faster. An extra bonus for them is that they're like definitively a 1-box kill team. I'm almost tempted. You know what? No, they're 5 out of 5. I think they're fun as long as you ignore the box art for inspiration, because I think that's a recipe for sadness. Playability, they are a bit of a big brain team. There's a lot of moving parts. They're a bit different than most other kill teams. They take a while to get used to, but they're very fun and very rewarding. They have some cool tricks, and there are some plebs on the team, but the beasts are like surprisingly beastly for what they are.
The Executioner is like
Alucia,
crazy.
the Void's Master, and the Executioner, I'm gonna give them a 9 out of 10 for playability.
Nice.
That's a very high score for me. So how does it feel to play against them?
You know what? They're a strong team. They're hard to play against, but I don't find them unenjoyable to play against. It's hard to remember that at any point you can be shot by a very powerful gun basically from anyone's line of sight. They're a tough team to play against, but they're not invincible, and you know, you can whittle them down. And so you know what, I'll give them a 4 for an opponent's score, because just like it's rewarding when you play them well, it's rewarding to beat them because they're a strong team, but you can play around it, and you know, I think they're a good, really well balanced team.
And we have a new leader here.
Do we really?
I think that's 18.
Whew.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah. Okay, so my next team is the Breachers.
Okay.
So from a playability perspective, I think they're a lot of fun because they've got some fun tricks that aren't like particularly sneaky. Like, it doesn't feel like you're tricking your opponent into winning.
Yeah.
It is frustrating that the box doesn't come with enough bodies to run an all people team, and you kind of have to use the robots. But I also think the robots are a lot of fun, and I think they get overlooked a lot because, you know, tournament players tend to leave them on the sidelines. For playability, I'm going to give the Breachers a 7 just because, you know, the box doesn't come with everything you need, but I do think they're a really fun team. For Hobby, I loved them. They were a blast to paint.
You got them done quick, too.
I did. I'm pretty sure I painted them up like in a couple nights. They really came together quickly. You know what? I'm going to give them a 3 out of 5 for Hobby, because for the same reason that you don't get all the tools you need in one box.
Okay, for playing against them, I would give them a 4. One thing that drops them down to a 2 for me.
Really?
Breach and Clear.
You don't like Breach and Clear?
I hate playing against
I love Breach and Clear.
I'm sure you like it.
Yeah, fair enough.
But the thing is, it's the same as just a scratch, kind of.
Right. You know,
you have to calculate for it until it happens. And if you play it late in the turning point, like I have to play around it potentially being anybody. Yeah. You know? It just brings it down. I don't love that kind of, like, the threat of it is better than the actual ploy. I don't hate them. Maybe 2's a little harsh, but I'm going to stick with it. Yeah. I'm going to say 2. No opinions involved at all.
So they're tied for last now. I think that's a 12 from the Breachers. Nice. Here's our extremely high-end note-taking and scoreboard situation.
All right, we got 1 pick each left, right?
Yeah, you're up.
Okay, for my last contribution here, I'm going to go with Novitiates. I'll start with playability, 10 out of 10.
Really?
Dice fixing is so satisfying.
Yeah, I'm sure
I'm sure you're going to give it a 0 out of 5. But I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Dice do be dice, except when you just make them not be dice. And then you're happy.
You know what? That reminds me. I need to subtract a point from the Starstriders. Because
the initiative reroll,
any team that allows you to reroll initiative, like, that's the biggest feels bad thing in the game to me, because, like, initiative is the one thing where you go into every turn thinking, like, I've got a chance, and with this it's like, nah, I don't.
All right, downgraded. So now they're tied with bloated. Okay, so hobby wise, they can be played for sure as a 1-box team.
Yeah.
Having them be a 2-box team, like if you have a second box, it can be useful. Getting the extra specialist can be nice for some matchups. You definitely don't need it to be like competitive at your local game store. I did get 2 boxes. I have not used the 2 operatives from the second box. I have not used them in a game on camera yet. I have played them on TTS though. The box art I did not like for so long. And then I painted them in a completely different scheme. Still didn't bring them up to 5 out of 5. So I'm going to have to go with, I'll give them a 3 out of 5 on hobby.
So I think this is not going to be surprising for you. I hate playing against this team. Like, I think that teams that mess with rolled dice are no fun to play against. Because, like, that's the whole beauty of this game, to me, is that, like, we're playing Yahtzee here. And in any situation, it's like, well, you know what? I might be really losing this game, but if I just roll 6s and he just rolls 1s, I've got a chance. But with this team, it's like, well, you actually don't. If we're talking about fun, like, it really sucks a lot of the fun out of the room for me. Yeah. And so I'm going to give them a 1 out of 5
you know
to play
what?
against.
I have fun when my opponent has fun, and it's a good point. Dice fixing can be frustrating, so I'm going to downgrade their playability to a 9 out of 10. That much of a feels bad for your opponent.
Yeah.
It kind of gets to you too. So, yeah, I think it's fair to give them a 9.
All right, so that's a final score of 13 for the Novitiates.
Man, I really thought they'd be higher.
Okay, my last pick is probably not going to surprise you at all, is the Corsairs. I have loved them since they first announced them. I think they're just such a blast to play. Yeah. They're a 1-box team, which is great. They're all specialists with really unique abilities. I think they've got a great power level. I mean, the Pistolier is like one of the scarier shooting operatives in the game, I think. There's a little bit of fly, and they all have a free dash, so they're kind of like a pseudo 3 APL team. Total no-brainer for me, 10 out of 10 for playability. Great. For hobby, I've got to give them a 4 out of 5, I think. I really enjoyed putting them together and building them. They came together really quickly, and they're fun. They have so much personality. You get to paint a bird. Remember when all kill teams were coming with birds? Yeah. That was fun. You get to paint a bird. You get to paint a bunch of different weapons. They've got great poses. They've got power armor. Awesome.
There's nothing that really stands out as making them great adversaries. There's nothing that like grabs my attention. It's like, oh yeah, I really want to play against the Corsairs. That being said, they're fine to play against. So I think I'll just give them a solid 4 out of 5. And I think, Victor, that makes them, with the adjustments to the Starstriders, our highest rated team. So here are the final rankings on the screen now. Obviously, this is completely objective, and there's no opinion injected into this at all.
So you can leave us a comment agreeing with us.
If you disagree with us, obviously you don't exist, because no one's going to disagree with us. So don't like and sub, because we don't need no likes and subs from non-existent people. Anyway, we're so far in the weeds now. This video went like 3 times as long as we thought it would. So like and sub. Peace, y'all. See you next time.